TV1, where you are number one and our guests are stars among stars. I am Sonic, your host, and we have an exciting show lined up for you today. Last week, it was our 15th episode. We had the pleasure of welcoming music producer, musician, Ronnie Payne on the show. And if you missed episode 15, be sure to check it out. But first, later in the show, we will be welcoming the legendary Dr. Antwan Amadeus Thompson to the show. We'll be sharing exciting updates, plus we have some breaking news just for you. That's right here on Sonix TV1, your new home for entertainment. As a music producer, songwriter, musician, and audio engineer, I have had the incredible opportunity to work with icons and legends like Lauryn Hill, 50 Cent, and David Bowie, and work with iconic labels such as Virgin, Capitol, and Warner Brothers, to name a few. Today, I invite you to join me on a journey through the heart of music, entertainment, and technology. Let's dive into the stories and sounds that shape our world. Thank you for being here. Let's make some magic together. The quote of the day: don't give up. Success is stumbling from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Author Winston Churchill. Don't give up. Success is stumbling from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Author Winston Churchill. Don't stop believing. In 2022, I released my single Cloud9, and I'll be sharing that shortly. And also later in the show, I'll be sharing my music video for Broadway, which was directed by a former guest, Brian the Synth Man Washington. And we'll be joining us later is Dr. Antwan Amadeus Thompson. So stay tuned and keep it locked right here. Here's Cloud9. That was Cloud Nine by yours truly. Written, produced, arranged, and engineered by yours truly. We have Johnny Johnson on guitar. Johnny J2 out of Las Vegas. Played with some of the greats. Gladys Knight, Eric Benet, Boys to Men, just to name a few. So today is a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. You know, we woke up this morning, meditating and praying and just being grateful. Today, just be grateful. We're all alive. That's right. We are alive, people. So that's one thing. Just be grateful. You know, the more gratitude you show, you know, just be grateful, wake up, meditate, pray. That's how I start my day. And I'm just so glad to be here. And I'm very glad that you joined us today. We'll have our special guest joining us shortly, Dr. Antwan Amadeus, music producer out of New York, Bronx, New York, worked with some icons like 50 Cent, Jennifer Lopez, Trey Songz, and the list goes on and on and on. So you don't want to miss that. He'll be coming up shortly. So, you know, it's a wonderful thing that you joined us today. So I have my music video for Broadway, which was directed by our past guest, Brian Synthman Washington. So we're going to be sharing that with you. So stay tuned and keep it locked right here on Sonix TV1.
This is a world premiere.
That was Broadway, featuring the one and only William Prince out of Connecticut, and super talented brother, so we're just grateful to have him on the song. Stay tuned, keep it locked right here. We got so much in store for you today. We have the one and only Amadeus joining us shortly, so you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss out on that. So we're just excited to have you with us here today. So keep it locked. We got a few changes coming up, so just stay with us, bear with us. We got something special coming for you, so hang tight. If you like what we do, hit that subscribe, hit that like button right down below. Also, you get the notification descriptions down below, and also you'll be able to reach out to us. We have our handle down there in the description. We also have an email address for you. That's right here on Sonix TV1. So if you like what we do, keep it locked right here. We have something special coming up, so just stay tuned. Keep it locked right here. I believe the one and only Amadeus has joined us. So we got a special video coming up for you, so we're going to play that first. So keep it locked right here on Sonix TV1, your new home for entertainment. Antwan Amadeus Thompson, aka King Amadeus, is a multi-platinum record producer, drummer, and music director with a career spanning over 2 decades. As CEO of Platinum Boy Music Incorporated, Amadeus has crafted hits for over 100 artists, including Jennifer Lopez, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, 50 Cent, Justin Bieber, and Lil Wayne, to name a few. He has been Trey Songz' music director and tour drummer for 17 years. Performing worldwide, and serves as the resident drummer at Dre's Nightclub, the #1 hip-hop venue in Las Vegas. In recognition of his influence and legacy, Amadeus was inducted into the Bronx Walk of Fame in 2024 and awarded an honorary doctorate in music business and entrepreneurship. He has also received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from President Joe Biden. As a sought-after educator and motivational speaker, Amadeus shares his journey to success, inspiring others to pursue their dreams. His memoir, The Story of Amadeus and the Beat Goes On, offers an intimate look into his life and career. A brand ambassador for Bel Air, Bumba Rum, McQueen, and the Violet Fog, Amadeus continues to inspire, empower, and shape the future of music. Sonix TV1, join me in welcoming the one, the only, Dr. Antwan Thomas, aka King Amadeus. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonix TV1, join me in welcoming the one, the only, Dr. Antwan Amadeus Thompson to the show. How you feeling, my man?
My brother, I'm great, man. Great to be here. I know we've been trying to get this to happen for quite some time. The time has come. I'm here. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me, my brother.
Pleasure's all mine, man. This brother right here has such an illustrious career. Goes way, way back. So we want to dive way, way into the business that is Dr. Antwan Amadeus Thompson today. So on Sonix TV1, we like to start at the beginning of the book. So right now, we're going to start with, where you were born. Let's give some backstory. Where you were born, where you grew up, and what was home like for you.
Got you. First off, big Bronx energy. Those that know I'm from the Bronx. I'm from 169 on Washington Avenue in the Bronx. The 9 is what my block is called. So that's where I'm from. And I love my city. I love where I'm from. I love my borough. For me, man, just a little kid from the hood, from the projects. That fell in love with music. I'm grateful to my parents, my mom and my dad. That raised me in the right way. They raised me in church. I went to Catholic school all my life. Fell in love at a really, really early age with music and hip hop. But it was in the 4th grade that I had to learn a musical instrument. I chose drums, or should I say drums chose me. That fell in love with it. It's all I wanted to do. music, create, perform, play, and that's pretty much how it started for me. As a youngin, of course, me being where I'm from, a lot of challenges. I faced a lot of challenges. There was a lot of distractions. That there was a lot of things that was trying to get me to go in the wrong direction and in the wrong path. But again, grateful to my mom and dad, for my church and my church family, for just, keeping me protected and keeping me covered, and allowing me, to love music the way I did, and allow me to be able to use music as a way out.
Big ups to the BX.
Yes, sir.
Throw your X's up
Sir.
for your borough.
Yes, sir.
So let's dive into that a little bit more. You started drumming. Did you get lessons initially, or did you just pick it up? Mom give you a drum set, or you just found it in school? The very start. What was that like?
What? So again, I don't know how old I was. But there's a picture of me. I have it in my book, and it's probably online too, of me as a baby. And I have a drum set, and it was a Smurfs drum set. So I don't know how old. I probably was about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years old, and that was the first introduction to drums. Obviously, at that age, I don't know, the meaning of it and what it really means. I just know it's something that I could bang on, as a little kid with the drumstick. So that's what it was. And it's funny because I was just thinking about a week ago, like I was wondering, I had a question in my mind of like, what made my parents buy me a drum set? Like, what was it that I was doing or displaying to them that said, hey, we're going to get him a drum set? Because I couldn't even talk it. Like, I was a baby, but I knew how to hold the drumsticks. I knew that I had to bang on the drums in order to get the sound out. So I was just wondering what inspired that and what inspired them to buy the drum set. So fast forward, 4th grade, the school I went to, St. Augustine School of the Arts, you had to learn a musical instrument. I wanted to learn how to play the trumpet or the saxophone, and I was absent on the day where you were able to choose the instrument you wanted to learn how to play. So when I returned on the following day in school, the only thing left, the only slots that were available was violin and percussion. Me being from the Bronx, me being from the projects, me being from the hood, it's crazy that I had at that young age some street smart. So I'm like, well, I'm already living in the hood. I have to dress up and wear the school uniform every day. So I'm already a target in my mind. The last thing I want to do is add to that and add a violin case to me walking through the hood with a violin case dressed up. So I was like, we're not going that route. And all due and love, respect to the violinists, not taking any shots. It's just something that I had to do as a young and growing up in my hood. So I picked percussion. I didn't even know what percussion meant. And then when I went into the class for the first time, I saw that percussion had to do with rhythm, and everything that had to do with rhythm, drums, xylophone, congos, bongos, cowbell. So it was pretty cool. So that was what I had to do every day. I didn't know I was a natural at it. So every pattern that my teacher played, I was able to mimic him. And, at that moment, he saw something special. My classmates saw something special. I didn't really take it seriously. I didn't really get what was the big deal. But what got my attention was the girls in my class. Like, the girls in my class was very inspired, as I would say, as I was playing drums. And that became the motivation. Like, okay, y'all are impressed by me playing drums. Like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to really focus on this. So that was the start. Messed around and fell in love with it, and then the rest was history. So everything from then on was by ear. Was me going to church and developing as a musician in church, and then later going into high school and playing in high school band and marching band and concert band and all those different things. But I would honestly say the first school really taught me the fundamentals, and then once I got into church, that really gave me my swag and my sauce and my spice as a musician. You know what I'm saying?
So you played drums in the Bronx. Was there a specific church you played at, or was there other musicians you rocked with?
Absolutely. So growing up, the name of the church back then was Faith Temple Church of the Living God, with my late pastor Michelle White back then, and then we moved up the street, and it was still Faith Temple Church of the Living God. And then we moved up the street again to 233rd, where it was like a really big room. I think it was an old movie theater. And then once we did that, the title changed to Greater Faith Church of the Living God. And then fast forward, now it's the Cathedral. at Greater Faith. So that was the church. I remember, going, and it was in an upper room on top of a store. And at that time, I was too young to like know them, but these are my brothers, so I know I can say who they are now. But back then, it was a minister, rest in peace, Derek Garbold, and rest in peace, Minister Scott Van Putten, and Stephen Suit White. And it's crazy. I'm reminiscing and I'm thinking about it. And it makes me a little emotional because I gave 2 rest in pieces, right? And now, as I'm talking about this with you today, I have to add a third one to that, which is wild. But Minister Pastor Elijah Goodwin was also in the upper room playing as well, and then Minister Aaron Kelly was up there. Pastor Mo Styles is up there. So these are all of the kings that were playing. And again, I was a little kid, man. So I didn't know any of them at the time. I didn't understand what was going on. I just saw, that there were musicians that looked like me. In school, they were teaching us about musicians, and they were jazz musicians. And the jazz musicians, with all due respect, were white men. They weren't men that looked as me. They weren't black kings that I'm used to seeing. So when I went to this church and I saw the amount of youth that was in this church, I saw that it was a woman pastor, that had one arm. Like all of these things was things that I was just like, wow, she's like a superhero. Like she has one arm, but she can play the piano, and she's like a preacher, and she's a pastor of the church. And then I'm hearing a band. So that was the introduction to music and church. And I fell in love with it for real at that time. Joined the church. Pastor allowed me to be the percussionist at the church. Steve was on drums. The rest of the guys was on keys. When we moved up the block, we transitioned a little bit. Steve moved to organ. I went to drums, and that's kind of how it all came together, man. But yeah, that's how it all started, man.
Well, you know what, man? We've been around each other all this time, and I don't know if you really realized that, but everybody you named, I rocked with back in the day.
I remember your face. When I got on just now, I was just like, when I was looking at you on Instagram, I was like, man, I know him. I know his face. He's like super familiar. I remember seeing you around a lot. Where and exactly you would have to tell me, but I know your face. And even when I got on and seen you on the live before we started the interview, I was like, yo, I really know his face. I really know him, and I know him from the church world too.
Yep.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, that's where we initially, touched base and got to play around. We actually played a little bit together too back in the day. Okay. My dad actually pastored in Portchester. Bethel.
Really?
My dad was the pastor in Bethel. And for many, many years, he was the pastor of Bethel. So we all been around each other, fellowshipping with the Gertmans.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
That's
I remember
great.
all your whole history. We've been right with each other. Shout out to Bethel. Shout out to Portchester, White Plains,
sir.
the BX.
Gertman Memorial.
Yeah, Gertman Memorial. Yes, all those are my guys, man. All of them. So yeah, Steve, everybody, man. Elijah,
man.
God, rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
Rest in peace, Bishop Michelle White. Yes,
sir.
Everybody, man. So it's just been a time frame for us to actually talk and catch up.
Right.
You've been rocking, doing your thing, touring. I've been doing my thing, touring, producing, writing, arranging, and engineering. So it's just been a time I've been waiting to just say, you know what, let's have this conversation so we can catch up, man.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I love when things go full circle, So
yes, sir.
We'll finish that conversation a little later, but I want to dive into a little more of your history. So you were playing in church, learning to play drums in school, and then you got into music production. Mm-hmm. Tell me how that transpired.
Yeah, I mean, I started out as a rap artist, and I kind of did that for quite some time. It was cool. But I was like, I don't know if this is really for me. And I was in a church, and Pastor was having a fit with me rapping like the secular thing, and then playing in church, and like she didn't really like it. My parents kind of ain't really like it. It was just a lot of people that was like opposed to that whole thing. And shout out to my man Buck Wild. He's a legendary hitman producer as well. Biggie, Faith Evans, and he has been rocking in the production scene for quite some time. And he's like, yo, why don't you try producing? I'm like, producing? He's like, yeah, that's like making beats that actual people make, write, and record songs to. He's like, you already play the drums, so I feel like you got the upper hand with you being a drummer and a musician. You know, you probably better than a lot of, you know, dudes that's out, because a lot of them don't have that musician side to them, you know. So he kind of mentioned it, took me to the studio when I kind of got to see him really do his thing as a producer, and I fell in love with that. I'm like, wow, so this is what it is, and this is what it entails. And I came home that night like, yeah, I want to be a producer. So that's kind of how it started. And so I started making beats. I was using equipment. Derek had a keyboard at the church that I was using. Steve, you know, Soup had he had a keyboard as well with him and my man Dennis. Him and Dennis Moorhead was creating together. So I was always surrounded by greatness and musicianship, and I just kind of really like, you know, honed in on it, figured it out. It really became a love and passion of mine. I was probably about 15, 16 years old, maybe younger, when I really fell in love with it and decided that that's what I wanted to do. And the rest was history, man. I put in a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of time, made a lot of sacrifices, lost a lot of friends, lost a lot of girlfriends. You know what I mean? Because all I wanted to do was create and make beats. And, you know, I didn't want to go to movies. I didn't want to go bowling. I didn't want to go out to eat. I didn't want to do nothing. It was church, school, you know, and home making music. And that's what it was.
That was basically the same thing with my life. Church,
yeah,
school, you know, and then just the studio all night, every night. You know, it was
yes,
about
sir.
the same time frame. You know, I actually recorded a demo of my cousin. My cousin is Al B. Sure. So that part of his part of his demo was done in my bedroom. Shout out to Al. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
shout out to the legend, man.
yes.
Al B. Sure. Wow, bro.
So as a kid, part of his demo was done in my bedroom, and so it was off to the races. So the same kind of story that you have is kind of the same story that I had, you know. So like you doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, and then, you know, we've seen each other, but not really fully knowing the full dynamics of
exactly,
you know, us doing our thing. So, you know, shout out
crazy,
to
man.
The people that opened the door for you, man. They saw something in you, and then,
yes, sir.
you know, they started working with you to pull those elements out of you. So, you know, it's a testament. Someone always has to help in a situation, open a door.
Right.
So name some of the artists you were able to work with. You had such an amazing story, brother. Like from
thank you.
From back that time frame, 15, 16, and starting on down the way.
Right. So the first artist, big shout out to Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown was the first major artist that I worked with. She was working on the Cradle to the Grave movie and soundtrack, starring and written and produced by DMX. Rest in peace to the late DMX. So we actually created the title song to the movie and soundtrack, Cradle to the Grave. So I did that with Foxy Brown. I'm trying to think. I'm probably going to mess the order up in regards to who, but I know Little Mo came, right after that, and Dipset, and G Unit, and Mike Jones. I'm trying to think. I'll probably forget the order, but after that, you know, like J Lo and Chris Brown and Trey Songz and Tyga and Keisha Cole and Maya and Danny Kane and Day 26 and, you know, Marcus Houston. You know, it's been a great journey. Busta Rhymes, Remy Ma, Pat Poose, French Montana, Fabolous. You know, just I would say over 100 major artists that I've been blessed and able to, you know, produce and work alongside, man. And the list is still counting. Most recent, Vito and Rotimi. Just got word that a record that I worked on with Chrisette Michelle is being released on Friday. So it's been a great career, man. TV, ESPN, created the ESPN theme song with First Take with Stephen A. Smith. Do a lot of scoring with ESPN and Sports Center and Sprite and BET and VH1. So video games, Fight Night, NBA 2. Madden. So it's been a long but an amazing journey on the production side of things.
Man, this gentleman has such an amazing journey, man. So
shout
out to the chat room for joining in. Thank you guys for tuning in.
I can't see the chat, right? I don't think I can see the chat, man. But much love to everybody that's rocking, that's tuned in. And you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, so we appreciate you.
Absolutely appreciate you. You hear this, man? The list just goes on and on and on. That's just a testament to work ethic and God's blessing, and God opened up doors for this man. So we want to dig a little bit more into it. So you started working in TV, scoring TV and stuff. And what else have you been able to score? Have you been able to do any movies or anything like that? Or is
No,
that
no
the
movies.
focus?
No movies as of yet. Just
Okay.
when you and I'm a sports fan too. That's what makes it so much more incredible and dope, because I'm really into sports heavy. I'm a New York Giants fan. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm a Yankees fan. You know, all the New York
Go
greats.
New York. You already know. Go New
You know what
York.
I'm
New
saying?
York. Go New York.
So yeah,
Especially the Knicks for
ESPN.
me, man. Especially
Knicks,
the Knicks.
yeah.
For sure.
So ESPN has been really dope. We've done a lot together. Like I said, the First Take theme song, a lot when you watch Sports Center, when you watch First Take, when you watch a lot of these shows that's on ESPN and ABC as well, because ESPN and ABC are together. They're both owned by Disney. So you can be watching, ABC during the sports hours or the college football games, or sometimes some of the NFL games, and you hear some of my music in the background. So we've done a lot of work with that. Shout out to DJ K Slay, rest in peace, DJ K Slay. I remember him calling me, wanting to use a beat that I made for a Burger King special, a Burger King commercial with them talking about the BK chicken fries. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, for sure.
Burger King commercial with the chicken fries, Sprite, BET VH1. Yeah, man. I've been, so that's a lot. That's the most I've done on the TV side of things. And I mentioned Madden. So shout out to Young and May. Two of the records that we created with her was on both Madden and NBA 2K. So that was a pretty cool feeling, being a gamer and actually playing video games with my son. And as we're playing video games, the song that I created is in the background playing, as we're playing video games. Such a cool moment, man.
That's fire, man. So let me ask you this. What was it like the first moment you stepped in the studio?
Man, from what I remember, because, it wasn't like the major studio. It was kind of like, probably a studio that somebody had or the crib joint. But if I'm not mistaken, I feel like, no. Was Derek taking me to the? No. It had to be a major studio, because I think Buck Wild took me to the studio for the first time. Yeah, so sorry about that. It was Buck Wild took me to the studio for the first time. And when we visited a few, I wanted to say we went to Daddy's house. We went to, not Right Track, it's another studio. I know Pop worked there a few times. We went to 2 or 3 different studios that night. I think like Electric Lady. I forgot which ones. I'm talking about, I was probably like 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But we went to the studio, 3 different ones, the big rooms, and him playing beats for Spitz. I think he played beats for LL that night. I think he played beats for Missy. And I think he played beats for Black Rob, rest in peace, and Busta Rhymes. So yeah, that was legendary, man. I was seeing all of those buttons, not knowing what any of them meant. I just knew the button that would turn everything up loud. So I just focused on that button. But it was kind of surreal to be in there and to see those legendary artists actually sitting down and listening to music and picking beats that they liked. So that was really cool and dope to see. And like I said, that night was the night that I decided that, a producer is what I wanted to be. So that was kind of how monumental that night was for me, pulling up to the studio for the first time, being in that room, being in that environment, seeing it and saying, yep, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So definitely was a legendary moment.
That's awesome. This brother has such an amazing story. We're going to take a little short break, and we're going to be right back after this message. Stay tuned. Keep it locked right here on Sonix TV1.
This is a world premiere.
Hey, yo, Sonic, what do you want to be when you grow up?
That's easy. A music producer, songwriter, arranger, composer, recording artist, TV host. Nah, I take that back. A savage. 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 That was Savage by yours truly, our commercial for Sonic TV1. We're sitting here right now with the one and only Amadeus, Dr. Amadeus.
Yes, sir.
So we want to get further into your story. Recently, you were inducted into the Bronx Walk of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, man. So the Bronx Walk of Fame is, if you ever been on the Grand Concourse in the Bronx and you're walking the streets, you know, there's various street signs of people that have been inducted into the Bronx Walk of Fame. Just to name a few, other than myself, who was one of the newest inductees this year, Luther Vandross, rest in peace, Luther Vandross, Fat Joe, Remy Ma, Swiss Beats, Funkmaster Flex. There's a bunch of Aventura, the Latin group out of Aventura. There's different Regis Philbin, different actors and actresses and philanthropists and assemblymen and women, athletes. So it's really, you know, really super dope. You know, and a staple that's on the Grand Concourse, all along the Grand Concourse. So as of right now, my street sign is in front of the courthouse, which is in between 158th and 161st.
Yep.
Yeah, man, which is right down the street from Yankee Stadium. So right now, it's there for now. It'll be there for a year. So I think this happened in July, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be there until that time, and then it'll officially move to the street that my street name would actually stay on. I remember getting the email about it. I was on tour with Trey, and we was on the Love Hard tour this year with Trey Songz, Keisha Cole, Jaheim, and K. Michelle, and I was on a tour bus going from one city to the next. And I remember opening up the email, and I was confused because I thought the email was like inviting me as a guest to be a part of the Bronx Walk of Fame ceremony this year. So I'm reading it, and it just wasn't registering it to me. So I gave it to one of my band members, shout out to my brother, Ricky Ricardo Ramos, and he's reading it, and he's looking at me, and he's like reading it, looking at me, and he's smiling the whole time, and he's like, we call each other Bloco. He's like, Bloco, this is it, man. Like, you getting the street sign? And I'm like, nah. And he's like, yo, you getting the street sign, bro. And so and it's funny because we didn't have a show that night. We just had to stop because we was traveling. I forgot where from, but we was going to Oakland, and it was a long drive that was going to take like about 2 days. And we stopped in Las Vegas, and we was at the hotel, and I was in the room, and I remember going to the gym and working out and just kind of like relaxing in the room and just sitting there in silence. And I was just trying to like replay the moment of me getting this letter. And for some reason, it wasn't really hitting. It wasn't really registering what was happening. Like, I was trying to take it in, but it wasn't happening, So I would say a few days go by, we did a show, and there it goes. Like, I forgot where I was, but in that moment, I just started crying tears of joy and really thinking about what was happening. I'm like, bro, you're from 169 from Washington Avenue. You're from the project. You're from the 9. You from where, people died. People, said you were going to be a drug dealer. You was going to be nothing. You can't be nothing but something negative. Now, besides of all of the great things that God has allowed you to do in music and touring and philanthropy, like, you're going to have a street sign that's going to stay your name and remain up there to eternity. And you know what I'm saying? And the tears just started flowing. And then I just I thought about my dad, my late dad, because my dad passed away 2 years ago. And I was just like, yo, what would I just kind of was trying to think about what he would say. Mm-hmm. Like, what would come out of his mouth of like knowing his son name that him and my mom named is on a street sign. And it was legendary. So it was quite some time before the ceremony was going to happen. And then, here we were. The ceremony came, the day came, and, I showed up. They did the unveiling of it. And I had my son with me. I had my daughter. I had my mom, and some of my family members and friends. And just to see it up there, man, it's crazy. I'm even getting emotional thinking about it now. And I would pull up and just sit underneath my sign. Like, on a random day, you know what I'm saying? I go to the barber shop, or I go speak to a school, or, be in the Bronx or in the neighborhood. And I would just drive up to it, double park my car, just stand there and just get out and just look at it. And
Because that's an accomplishment, man. It's just, you work so hard all across the years, and a lot of times people don't realize this. They think being a music producer, a musician is glamorous, but it's a lot of long, grueling hours, days, and traveling, just to fulfill your dreams. So to see that come full circle, and now you have a street sign named after you, and you're part of, such great illustrious history, along with Luther Vandross and so many other greats. And now you see this. So I could only imagine. I can't even imagine, brother. I couldn't even imagine that. And then turn around. You also recently received the Lifetime Achievement Award from President Joe Biden.
Man, like it really, in my mind, I'm still trying to comprehend all of this. You know what I'm saying? So just hearing you say it, and you've known me since a youngin', so you know me very, very well, and you know how I carry myself and how I move and how I operate. And I've always been taught from my parents and my late bishop, just to always be humble and to move with love and to be nice to people. You know what I'm saying? She would always say, it costs you nothing to be nice. And, so when you think about all of these things, and I think about these things of just being a kid with dreams, wanting to make it, wanting to survive, wanting to thrive in life, not wanting to be a statistic. You think about all of those moments. You think about times when I didn't know whether I was going to make it. Times when, I feared for my life. Times when, because like you said, it's so these things that we're doing, this life that we have, it takes so much hard work and dedication. You know what I'm saying? It's some sacrifice and belief in oneself to do it. You know what I'm saying? Especially on the level that we do it on, like not everybody have these behind them and on their walls. Like I used to watch the Video Music Box and pray and wish and dream that one day I would, be in that position. So when you're celebrated for what you've contributed, whether it's music, whether it's community service, whether it's, you giving of oneself, it's one of the most amazing feelings in the world. And one thing that I don't do, though, is kind of get caught up in it and allow it to overtake me, because one thing, and I'm not being negative, I'm just being honest and real, one thing we all know is you can't take none of this with you.
Can't take it with you. And, and at the end of the day, it keeps you grounded, keeps you driven as well. Mm-hmm. It keeps you moving forward, looking forward to it, and then also from Lifetime Achievement Award, street named after you, the Walk of Fame, doctorate. Tell me about that. Dr. Antwan Thompson.
I'm like,
yeah, doctor. Come on, doc. What's good?
Craziness, man.
It just keeps getting better and better.
Yo, it's like, and it's like one after another, right? But and I remember getting that call, and shout out to Harvest Christian University, who have been a blessing to me and allowed me to have those amazing accolades, and Dr. J. Robinson and Dr. Carl Robinson, and it's just crazy, man. Like it's really, really crazy. And again, a little kid from the hood, I finished high school. I went to Cardinal Hayes High School in the Bronx, graduated from Cardinal Hayes, went to college for like 5 minutes, Mercy College up in White Plains, and realized that it wasn't for me and went in a different direction. Of course, that was frowned upon, and from a good lens is where, my parents, my pastor, people wanted me to make it. People wanted me to be successful, and they felt like that was the route to take. And I just, God showed me something different, man. And I'm glad that I followed my heart. I'm glad I followed those dreams that was inside of me, which I feel are the vision that God has blessed me with and blessed me to have for myself. And I'm glad that I was the rebel that I was to go after that without allowing anything and anyone to stop me. So, when I hear you say these things, man, it's humbling. It's motivation, and it's for that little kid that's from where we're from, whether the Bronx, and I learned with touring, all around the world, there's hoods. It's not just a hood in New York. It's not just a hood in Cali. It's not just a hood in Atlanta. Like, there's hoods in Switzerland. There's hoods in Africa. There's hoods in Australia and Japan, so, or no matter where that kid is in the world, male or female, for that kid that don't see a way out, for that kid that all he or she has is a skill or a talent or a gift to do something amazing and magical, and they just hope and dream that one day they can make it out of the situation. Like, I want to give that kid hope, and not just the kids, but adults too, because sometimes, you don't obtain or achieve goals or dreams until you're 40 or 30 or 50 or 60. So for that adult too, that's locked in, that's watching us, like, your dreams don't stop. If God, allowed you to have breath in your body and you have another day at life, that's another chance, another opportunity to work towards those goals and work towards those dreams. There's no such thing as too late. There's no such thing as too late. We hear about people achieving things at 50 years old, at 60 years old. Like Denzel Washington, I think that's one of my favorite actors. Like, he's 70 years old, and he just did Gladiator 2. Like, he's done a lot of great movies, but Gladiator is a huge legendary staple in film. So for him to be a part of Gladiator 2 as one of the only black men in that movie and had such a key role at 70 years old, goes to show you, like,
this is why we do this show, man. This is why we do this show. We want to inspire others to reach for their dreams. You know what I mean? Like, this is really what it's all about. You, yes, right, you. Ladies and gentlemen, at home watching this, can achieve your dreams. You can achieve your dreams. And this is what it's all about. Sharing these stories so you can be inspired, so you can be uplifted, so you can be entertained, so you can know, when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to ignore your dreams that's calling you, tugging at your heart. Get it done. Look at this man. Look what he's been able to achieve right here in front of you. He's telling you it's possible. It's possible, man. You cannot tell me it's not possible. God is awesome, man. Possible. God is awesome, bro. So I want to get to your touring. You became a music director and you started touring with Trey Songz, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We've I've been with Trey as his music director and drummer for 17 years, man. It's a long, long time, and I remember when it was an idea. I was in the studio with him. I was working on a record with him and Mike Jones in Houston, and we was recording the song. And this is Trey's first album out. And his tone and his energy and the music that he was making, I was like, yo, bro, the music you're making, you're gonna need a live band one day, man. And when that day comes, call me. I'll put the band together. And we did the record. He went his way. I went my way. Mike Jones went his way. A year later, I got a phone call like, yo, you ready to put the band together? And I was like, nope. Like, put the band together. Like, I just said it. Right. I don't know about putting the band together. I don't know about being a music director. All I know how to do is play drums and play drums. And I remember calling, and I know Butters, Ralph Kearns. And I called Butters, and I was like, yo, this dude named Trey Songz. He's new. He want to put a band together. I'm gonna let you be the music director because I know that's what you do already, and I'll be the drummer. And he was just like, nah, bro. He's like, because at that time he was the music director for Case, and Casey and Joe, and that was his thing, and he was already flourishing in that, and he was already experienced in that area. So I was trying to pass it off to him, and me just be the drummer. And he's like, nah. Case gave me a chance. Casey and JoJo gave me a chance. This is Trey giving you a chance, and he was just like, take it, bro. Take the role. Like, we got to start somewhere. And he's like, I got you. I'll roll with you. I'll be on keys. You'll be on drums. We took Ricky on guitar, Brian on bass, and that was the band. So it was the squad from church. And we got a call to do one show. So we went in rehearsals, knocked the show out. It was phenomenal. Trey loved it. The management loved it. The label loved it. Some time went by. We went back to church. Got another phone call like, yo, we got another show for the album release. Cool. We did the show. Went back to church. Got another call like, y'all want to go on tour? And we was like, all right, cool. Did the tour for like a month and a half. Came back home. Went back to church. Y'all want to do another tour? And that tour was, opening up for Jeezy on the Blueprint 3 tour. Did that tour. And so the long story short, like, yo, we didn't come back. Like, we came back home, literally. But I'm just saying, like, we left and didn't come back home. And I didn't know it was going to be all of that. None of us knew it was going to be all of that. And being from the church and knowing Bishop, like, bro, like it caused a problem because... Of
course it did.
I took the squad out of the church. And, she was like, yeah, but... Because, again, I didn't expect none of that. I didn't know about touring. I didn't know none. I just wanted to perform and play other than, outside of the church. And I didn't know it was going to turn into that. So I remember her sitting me down in the office, was just like, you took my whole band.
Took the whole squad.
The whole squad.
You took the whole squad.
The whole squad. And, it was a moment where I was like, Pastor, I didn't know all of this was going to happen. So my man Brian, I feel like you know Brian too, Brian Cockerham. He plays with
That's my guy. That's my guy.
So Brian was the first bass player with us with Trey.
Okay.
So Brian did about, I think, a tour or two. And then I remember him calling me, was like, yo, I don't know if I could do this, yo. And I was like, what happened? He's like, yo, I don't feel right about this. I'm gonna go back to the church. So Brian went back to the church, and we ended up replacing Brian with Nate. And I know you know Nate Jones.
Shout out to Nate Jones.
Nate Jones from bass, you heard? So
yeah,
Nate
for sure.
up. And again, we didn't know it was gonna be all of that, bro. We did the tour with Jeezy, came on tour, did our own tour. I remember remember MTV Unplugged. We did MTV Unplugged, 106 in Park, BET Awards. Went on tour again, opening up for Usher on OMG. Like, who knew
that was going to turn into all of this, right? Yeah.
So when I was telling her, I was just like, and she was mad at me for a long time. But when I sat and spoke to her and shared the logic, as mad as she was like, I get it. And I respect that. I respect you for that. And my mindset was, Pastor, it's every musician's dream to tour. It's every musician's dream to play the arenas, to play the stadiums, to go out in the world and do what we do. It's every, you would have to be lying to say you're a musician in church and not want to go hit the Staples Center, or not go want to hit Madison Square Garden or MetLife, where the Giants play. Like, come on, bro.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
So I said, and how would I look? And I'm a youngin' too. How would I look having this opportunity and opening up this opportunity for people I don't know, or people that's not family, other than my brothers? How would I not do this with my brothers? They have the same dreams and aspirations that I have.
Right.
I gotta take my brothers. But again, I'm like, I didn't know it was gonna be all of this.
So you just left the whole church with no music.
No band, bro. And she like, we touring the world, we doing stadiums, and she's like, yeah, but are y'all coming back? Like, and we're like, we don't know. And,
I need you in church on Sunday morning. That's pastor.
Yo,
that is pastor for sure.
Crazy.
I know all too well.
We made up. She understood that, that there was no malice involved, and she understood where my heart was, and my heart was in the right place. But I still took the band. Like, I
need my guys.
All that, I get all of that. But so then, it came a point where it's like similar to Brian, where I like, listen, let's ask them what they want to do. Because I'm not, I don't have any handcuffs on anybody. Like, I don't have no, I don't have a gun in nobody's head. Like, what y'all want to do? Y'all want, we have all of this coming up. We're officially Trey Songz' band. The money is crazy. let's be all the way above.
Get it.
The money is crazy. We getting endorsements, from all of the companies that we play with. They're sending us equipment. They're lacing us. We getting endorsements from the clothing brand.
So you gotta take it. You gotta take it. You gotta take it.
I'm like, what y'all want? Well, I mean, again, Brian went back.
Yeah.
Brian went back. So, it was an opportunity for them to make the decision based off of what they wanted to do. And then, and it was a real conversation. And they always was like, we're gonna ride this till the wheels fall off. And here we are, 17 years later, still Trey's one and only band. And we still touring with him. Like I said, we did the tour top of this year, the Love Heart Tour, which is phenomenal. We have a few spot dates coming up the top of next year. And it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
I got to give a shout out to all the guys. Shout out to Trey Songz. Shout out to Troy Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to JoJo Brim.
Yes,
Jimmy
sir.
Mayonnaise. Shout out to
Kevin
all the
Love.
guys, Kevin Lau. Shout out to all the guys, man. Shout out to everybody that played a part with Trey Songz.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
remember
sir. Kaiser,
Trey.
Michael Kaiser,
Yeah, I remember
Julie
Troy,
Greenwald,
Julie Greenwald. Yep,
Mike
yep.
Karen.
Oh
Yeah,
my
bro.
gosh, you bringing it back right now.
Yeah,
So shout
bro.
out to everybody that played a part in that. Nate Jones, the whole band. You've been doing it a long, long time, man, and you're doing what you love. And you see this man is so still very passionate because it comes from the heart.
Yes,
When
sir.
you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And so
Amen.
the hours, the time, the sacrifices that you make, it's all with purpose. And it actually is fuel versus it tearing you down. It actually fuels you and brings you joy. When you're out there on the, in front of that stadium, on them drums, doing what you love,
Bro.
I already know. Describe that to the people. Describe that, because it's one thing if I describe it, but I want you to describe it.
Nothing like it, man. It's nothing like it, And to think again, I'll use 2 examples, right? Well, I'll use 3. I think one that was so meaningful to me was playing Madison Square Garden. My mom took me to my first concert there. I went to see MC Hammer, huge MC Hammer fan, and it's crazy because I was young, but I remember Jodeci opening up for MC Hammer. Crazy, it's like Jodeci, weird, but like Jodeci for the first time was opening up for MC Hammer. So I remember being in the Madison Square Garden and seeing that concert, and I've seen other shows there. The Knicks play there. So being from New York, it was monumental. And I remember we played Madison Square Garden a few times. We did New Year's Eve alongside Mariah Carey. We did Jay-Z a few times. We did on the Usher tour, some radio shows. So I remember, I don't speak for me. I'm not going to put anybody else on blast. I remember crying like a baby, man. After performing Madison Square Garden, I cried like a baby as I'm watching Jay-Z perform. Like one of the biggest and greatest artists of all time. Like us being on tour with Jay-Z was nuts. And I'm like, yo, we just played the Madison Square Garden. Like the Madison Square Garden.
Mecca.
Like
the
bro,
Mecca. I already know.
Madison Square Garden. Man. So that, and then I think I'd mention playing MetLife, which is here in Jersey, the home of the New York Giants, in front of 65,000 people at Summer Jam a few times. I think we did it like 2 or 3 times. Like, yo, it's no other feeling like it was one of the proudest moments to be able to play that stadium and to hear that roar, right? Another time was 2 more times. Africa, which is obvious, the motherland, having experience to go there. I think we did Johannesburg, we did Durban, we did Namibia, we did Angola. There's a few others that I'm going blank on, but man, legendary. And then Australia. Like Australia was probably the biggest audience we played for, which was 88,000 people. So imagine 88,000, and that's hard to even imagine.
That's like the Super Bowl right there.
Dude, what does 88,000 people sound like? And then you got to think, when you go overseas or places other than New York or here in the States, there's a different love and appreciation because they're not used to having you over there, right? We're spoiled here, right? Where if you live in New York, you'll see, some players from the Knicks or stars and celebrities. You live in LA, of course, you're going to see somebody pumping gas. You might see, Brad Pitt, ordering In-N-Out burger. Like Atlanta, you might see Jeezy or Jermaine Dupri.
Everybody's desensitized. No big deal,
When you go overseas, they're not bumping into nobody in the street. They're not bumping into so-and-so at that restaurant. So when you go over there, you're going over there to perform. You're going over there to do a show. So when you go over there, they're so excited to see you. They're so appreciative to have you and to be in your presence. And you feel that. So that yell, that roar of 88,000 people in Australia singing almost every song and every word.
Y'all was rocking.
Legendary.
I already know y'all was rocking.
Oh, we was on fire.
Rocking.
We was on fire.
Stadium rocking right there. I already know.
Fire.
Oh,
and somebody asked me, and I remember this, and rest in peace. It's crazy, man, how many times we've said rest in peace on this having this conversation. Just goes to show you, man, we gotta live life, man. Fat Man Scoop. Rest in peace, Fat Man Scoop. Fat Man Scoop was on the bill. He was like the MC and the host of that tour. And he got on in between each and every single artist and performed his songs and got everybody lit and hyped up. And I remember us having a conversation, and somebody asked me, am I scared? You know, am I afraid before the show? And I was like, nah, I'm like really hyped. He was like, you about to perform in front of 88,000 people. You got to be afraid. And I was like, nah, I'm actually really hyped up. I'm on a billion. Why? Because one, we're prepared. We rehearsed. We did everything we needed to do. We're ready. 1, 2, this is the greatest life ever, bro. I'm doing what I love to do. I'm about to go up there and play drums in front of 88,000 people with one of the biggest R&B artists of all time. Afraid of what? Like,
I know you was turned up all the way turned.
Too turned. Like, you don't know if I'm performing or Trey performing. I mean, we both performing, but like, you don't know who's the star. Bro, I'm so hyped. But
Let me at it. You already know.
And that's how it's supposed to be. Like, you know, and you have to be careful of not allowing yourself to get used to your blessings and get jaded and comfortable as where I'm acting like this is the first time I'm playing ever. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it's supposed to be, of being grateful to your blessings and what you do and what you're able to do. There's kids, there's people that's still dreaming about this that hasn't become their reality as of yet. And we're living this life. So I'm just grateful every single time to do what I love.
Absolutely. You know, and it's a testament to your work ethic that keeps you there. You know, you being humble, being able to work along with people, because that's what it takes. Being able to work with people, being humble enough, you know, that you can share your insight, but also receive insight. Because it's, you know, it's a give and take when you are music directing. You know, a lot of people don't understand that either, you know. So you might have a vision, the artist will have a different vision, and then somewhere in the middle, you guys meet in the middle in the collaboration of this huge concert that you're enjoying. So hats off to you for rocking with Trey that long, man, holding it down. Because a lot of times people don't know either is that a lot of times, you know, people are more so considered like hired guns. You know, they might come in and rock with an artist for a couple of shows, and they may never play with an artist again. You know, so like, you know, you do two or three shows, and they're like, okay, on to the next band or the next crew. So shout out for, you know, Trey and the whole crew, the management team, keeping it together and continuing to rock with the family. Because, you know, a lot of times people don't understand this as artists, is that the change is not always, you know, a blessing. It's a blessing when you continue to work with people and improve upon the foundation that you create. You know, so hats off to, you know, you and Trey, the family, for keeping it together and rocking.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
So I want to segue into, you know, your book. Tell me about your book.
Yeah, man. I mean,
the author Amadeus in the building.
Yes, sir. The story of Amadeus and the beat goes on. It's basically a book. When we started working on it, shout out to my co-authors, Lynn Hobson and Trina Stackhouse. We got this done during the pandemic. It was something that I've always wanted to do, just never had the time to really devote the time and energy needed into making it happen. So when the pandemic happened and we all was forced to sit our behinds down, you know, that was the time when we were able to do it. And I remember having conversations with Trina Stackhouse, who was one of the authors on the book, and just hours and hours of conversation, because I had to share with them my story. And, you know, each and every single detail, like the questions that was asked, and what cereal did you have? And like, you know, what color were you wearing? Like, and I would try my best to remember every single small detail, man. And I remember finishing the book, and it was an exciting thing. And then Bishop had died. Bishop had passed away. So I remember calling, you know, Trina and Lynn, and was like, I know I created a moment for her in the book, but I want to create a bigger moment for her in the book. As I mentioned her, I wanted to dedicate the book to her. So on the first page, when you open it, it says this book is dedicated to, you know, my late pastor Bishop. So I mentioned her. And I went back in and kind of revised it a little bit and gave her more of a moment in the book because of that happening. And then, unfortunately, my dad had passed. So I actually went back and then edited it and added, him to the book as well, in regards to me dedicating the book to them, but then also dedicating the book to my kids as well. But the book is sorry to bring it down a little bit, but the book is about how I became me. You know, every detail from me being a baby up until that first moment. Working with Foxy Brown as a producer. I envisioned it being a kids book. So it's definitely it's not ABC 1, 2, 3. It's a nice challenge. Targeting fourth grade and up. Fourth grade because that was the grade where I started learning the drums in school at St. Augustine. So I wanted to target fourth grade up until adults. So it's out right now. It's been out for about 2 years now, maybe longer. I suck with time. And it's been doing really, really good. So thank you to everybody that has supported and purchased a signed copy of the book. Thank you to all of the schools and the principals that have been purchasing books for their students, allowing me to come in and do assemblies and do book signings at their schools. The support has been really, really amazing. I know Christmas time is coming. So I'm going to start actually posting it. I've been horrible with sharing the book online. So I'm going to start sharing the book online in hopes that people purchase it for their kids and family members throughout the holidays. But I'm excited about it. Definitely a great read. I'm not a big reader. So in writing the book, I wanted to make sure that I stuck to that. Like what would get me to pick up a book and read and enjoy it? So it's a very short book. It's 26 pages. There's actual pictures of myself as I was growing up in the book on each and every single page. So it's a quick, straight to the point reading. And the title is The Story of Amadeus, and the beat goes on. And the beat goes on is a part that allows their room to be part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the list goes on. So we'll see where that goes. But if you want to get a book, it's on my website. I am KingAmadeus.com. I am still signing every book. I'm mailing the books out myself. I wanted to come from me directly so you can feel the love from me directly. So definitely log on to the website, IamKingAmadeus.com, and order your book.
Get the book, ladies and gentlemen. Support this man. Support this man and whatever he's doing. As you can see, he's a great and a phenomenal brother. He's doctor. What was the doctorate in again? My bad.
Music and entrepreneurship.
Music and entrepreneurship. Doctorate. Yes, author, educator, the list goes on. Music director, executive producer.
Yes, sir.
This man wears all the hats and never sleeps. There's no way he sleeps.
Man, I woke up early working, went to the gym, did an interview at a podcast. Here interviewing with you right now. After it's done, I'm gonna eat. I have some folders of music to send out to various artists and some admin stuff to do. So the work continues, man. The work continues. Never, ever, ever, ever get comfortable. Never ever get comfortable, never get complacent. There's always work to be done. And my job to me is to try my best to outwork everyone.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to ask you one more thing before we get out of here. Well, two more things before we get out of here. We've been missed if we didn't get to Dre's Las Vegas, where you have played with everyone. Literally, this man has played with everyone at Dre's Las Vegas. Tell us about that and how that came to be.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my Dre's family. The number one. They're saying number one hip hop nightclub. I'm saying number one club, man. It's no place like Dre's. Everybody that pulls up to Las Vegas has to stop by Dre's. There's no force. It's just a lot of greatness there. So shout out to Dre's. Been there for about 7 years now, going on 8 years as one of the resident drummers. Started that whole thing. Shout out to my man Dalton, who was with me along with that as well. And you notice residencies is usually artists, DJs. Some have magicians, but Boyz II Men has one. Like Gladys Knight has one. You know what I'm saying? Like J-Lo had one. Now 50 has one. So it's not a thing for musicians to have. So me as a drummer to get a residency, especially at Dre's nightclub, legendary. Shout out to them. Shout out to DJ Franzen. So as a drummer, I'm playing alongside the DJ. So when you come in, you pull up to the club, imagine hearing your favorite songs, that the DJ is playing, but hearing drums playing alongside that. So it just creates a super cool experience to witness. The songs that you love sounding bigger and better on a bigger scale sonically. And it's just a vibe, man. It's just a vibe. Trey has a residency there as well. So we used to go with Trey and play. He would take the band with him everywhere. So the band would play there at Dre's nightclub, super legendary. And one night before doing the set, a gentleman came up to me. He was like, "Hey man, why don't you jump on the drums and play with the DJ for a little bit?" And so in my mind, I'm like, because anything that I do, I put my all into it. I don't have to do anything. So I'm like, well, I don't want to get too crazy, because if I go in there and play the set, then I'm gonna get myself tired. And then when it's time to do the set with Trey, I ain't gonna have 100%. I'm gonna feel it. The band's gonna feel it. He's gonna feel it. And I don't want that smoke. You know what I'm saying? But I went and did it. Played about 10 to 15 minutes. Didn't go too crazy. So I finished it. Did the show with Trey. Both was amazing. Shout out to George, Trey's day-to-day manager, George Rodriguez. So he pulls me to the side and he's like, "Yo, you're never gonna believe this." I'm like, "What?" He said, "So do you know who he was talking to? Like that actually to play drums with the DJ?" And I was like, "Nah." He's like, "Yo, that's Victor Dre." So I'm like, Victor Dre. And I'm like, "Well, his name is like the club." I said, "Is that the owner?" And he's like, "Yeah, bro. That's the vision. That's the visionary. He's the one who created Dre's, Victor Dre." He's like, "Anyway, he wants to give you a residency." So I was like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Well, just like Trey has a residency where he comes and he performs, whether it's twice or 3 times a month, depending on the month. Same thing for you, but you'll have your own. So when Trey comes, you'll rock out. But even if Trey is not here, like, you'll come and they'll hire you and you'll be on drums playing with the DJ, because he likes that idea now and he loves it. And now he wants to have that and incorporate that. So you're going to play weekly alongside the DJ here in Vegas." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, so we got to figure out the business of it, but you will fly in on the weekends, play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They'll fly you in. They'll put you up in a hotel. They'll pay you. And that's what it'll be." And that was 7 years ago, man. And prior to the pandemic, I was doing it every weekend. So I would fly on Friday, play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, fly home on Mondays, I would get home on Monday night, so I wouldn't really count that as a day. So I would have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to do whatever else, because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would be in Vegas at Dre's. And that's how that whole thing came about. So the pandemic happened, a lot changed. So now I get less weekends. So I'm maybe there maybe twice a month, maybe once a month. But grateful to still be a part of that amazing brand. Because again, we're drumming. Now we're starting to see it. And I know you know this, because as a musician, now we're starting to see it more, where you're seeing drummers do a lot more. But man, I ain't saying I set it off, but I'm saying I set it off. In regards to the club thing, or residency, I ain't saying I set it off.
Not many, bro. Not many get that opportunity. So that is phenomenal that you have that, Shout out to Dre's. Shout out to Dre's nightclub, Las Vegas.
Yes, sir.
You ever get the opportunity, make sure you go by and check it out. And pull up and check this man out. You get to hear him play live at Dre's every other week. Is that what it is? Every other week?
Yeah.
Now?
So I'm back for the last time this year on the weekend of the New Year's Eve weekend. So I'm back. If I'm not mistaken, the dates is Saturday, December 28th and Sunday, December 29th. So that's the last weekend that I'll be rocking this year. And then I'll be getting my dates for the top of for 2025.
Okay, that's what's up. So what's next for the one and only Amadeus King? Amadeus, what's next for you?
It's been a great year, man. It's been a great year. So I'm getting some work done. I'm a workaholic. So, still sending out music. Grateful. That's why we're here now, knocking out interviews. And, I'm in town right now. You know what I mean? And I'm here until December 28th. So I'm just taking advantage of being here. Others are taking advantage of me being here and having conversations and booking me for different things. But again, I'm excited about the Chris Michelle record that drops this Friday. It's called Hallelujah. So honestly, and now I'm grateful to break this news with you, because our brotherhood and how we've come up together. My first gospel record. Out of everything I've done, this is the first gospel record that I've produced. And I wouldn't say I don't produce gospel music, so to say. So it's kind of like I'm not going to classify it. I'll say it's a track. And she decided on that particular track in the vibe to write a gospel song to this particular track.
Inspirational, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I'm grateful Chrisette, I've always been a fan of hers. She's so dope, super dope songwriter. Her tone and her voice is like no other. So I'm excited about that record. Again, hitting Dre's one more time for this year. And honestly, man, because the industry, and the industry shuts down pretty soon. I would say right before Christmas. So I think today is like the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like I got like another almost a little less than 2 weeks to really put that last work in for the year. So I'm going to do that. I'm gonna close out with the hustle, and then once Christmas Eve hit, I say that week, the day before Christmas Eve, I'll probably remove myself from work and entertainment and music and business and just enjoy the rest of the year, man, and spend time with my family, spend time with my kids, get these video games popping. You know what I'm saying? And
I already know.
And enjoy myself and really reflect on the year, because it's been a really incredible year, and I'm just being honest and transparent, not from just a business sense or accolade sense, but just on a personal level too. Like, personal level, I've been doing really, really great. I've been in therapy, which is something that men don't talk about, and really doing the work on myself, like personally. So I feel amazing. I feel great. I can say I'm 100% happy. I'm 100% at peace with life, with the things that I've endured, with the things that I've overcome. And I just want to take the time to reflect on that and take the time to really be in a great space, and enjoy, where I'm at in my life, and enjoy my family and those that truly love me. So I want to take that time to do that after, like I said, after the industry shuts down a little bit before Christmas.
Well, man, that's amazing. You must do that. Take time for yourself.
Yep.
No man is without fuel. So refuel. Do the things that refuel you and uplift you, because
right.
You can't give what you don't have, man. So that's a blessing. Take time
Amen.
for yourself.
Amen.
Any last parting words for our viewers?
Man, thank you, man. Thank you for having me here. Thank you to all of the viewers that tuned in. Like I said, there's so many places that they could have been tonight.
Shout out to the chat room. The chat room. Go on fire. They're throwing the fires, man. They're throwing the
Yeah, I can't see the chat, man. So I don't want y'all to think I'm Hollywood or I ain't calling you out. If I could, I would definitely shout everybody out. That's just the person that I am. So shout out to you again in this platform, and for allowing me to be on here and to share my story and my journey, and for you to help celebrate, what I've done and accomplished in life. Thank you to all my supporters. Thank you to all of the artists that allow me to, to create music with them. And shout out to Trey for bringing me all around the world. Shout out to my brothers, my band, and everybody, man, my kids, my family, blessings to every single one of you guys. And, hopefully this conversation inspired you and motivated you in some way, whether personal, whether it's in your entrepreneurship. You can do anything you put your mind and your heart to, man. And so blessings to you all. God bless. Again, thank you, King, for having me, man. I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you. We're grateful for you spending your time with us, man. This brother is phenomenal. If you don't know about him, please go check out his music. Go check out his website. Check out his book. Go get that book. Cop
yes,
that
sir.
book. Go get that book.
Sir.
Support this man. No man is an island, and we all need that fuel, so please support him. We thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch up a little later, my brother. Thank you for joining us today.
Everybody have a great night. God bless.
The one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Amadeus. That's right, Amadeus. Check him out at his website, www.iamkingamadeus.com. www.iamkingamadeus.com. You find out more about his history and the things he's done in his life, where you can also get his book. Please support this man. So that was Amadeus joining us today. So please check out his website. And if you want to learn more about my artistry and my music and my history, you can check me out on my website, sonixmusic.net, sonixmusic.net. And also, you can check out my merchandise, sonicmusic.net/store, where you can get your t-shirts, your hats, and other things to support us and keep us going. So please, check it out. Support. Check out all our music. Please support. We need you. Next week, For episode 17, we have the one and only Sandy Shore joining the show. DJ, music mogul, CEO, smoothjazz.com, Smooth Jazz Global. Leader in entertainment. Please check it out. Next week, joining us right here on Sonix TV1. And if you like what we do, please subscribe and like the channel right down below. You'll get the notifications of when we go live, upcoming events. You don't want to miss out. And also you'll be able to reach out to us. And we love to hear from you and give feedback on what you think about the show. You know, we just love to hear from you. So reach out to us. And ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Thank everyone for joining us today on Sonix TV1, where you are number one and our guests are stars amongst stars. I greatly appreciate you spending your time with us today, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Be inspired, be uplifted, be entertained. I am your host, Sonix, and I'll see you next time right here on Sonix TV1. God bless.